It's our job to show learners how to do things well and what is expected of them when it comes to delivering a certain standard. But modeling goes much further. Kids pick up on our attitudes and behaviors. As teachers and parents, it's really important that we understand the power that our words and actions have on the kids we teach. Hello and welcome to Blooming Curious, the podcast that's all about nurturing that natural curiosity in our early years kids and students. I'm Edwina, your host from the Ed's Lessons blog, a passionate advocate for play and inquiry, and on a mission to keep children curious and questioning. The days of talk and chalk are over. We're diving into the world of integrated, inquiry and nature-based learning and exploring the strategies that create lifelong learners. So if you're a classroom or homeschool educator or even a curious parent, then this is the place for you. Children learn by watching others, by copying the behaviors of those around them. This is called observational learning. Most kids and even adults don't simply learn just by being told what to do, but rather by being shown what to do. We educators use modeling as a strategy for teaching kids. This follows the typical I do, we do, you do model of explicit instruction. In the I do stage, the educator demonstrates exactly what to do, how to solve a maths equation, for example. And then in the we do stage, you invite the students to solve a problem with you. So everyone basically practices together. And then comes the you do stage, which is when you give students an opportunity to solve the problem or write a sentence or spell a word or whatever your task is on their own. Now, I love using many whiteboards for this type of learning because as soon as the students have finished, they hold up their boards and you can spot immediately who still needs more practice. So you can just keep those kids behind on the mat or have them come to a designated table where you can provide more instruction for them or scaffold them while everyone else has gone off and completes a task independently. Now, this type of modeling strategy is essential when teaching kids new skills or concepts, which includes teaching them how to ask good questions, which I discussed in episode 27, and even teaching the different stages as you go through an inquiry cycle. You have to model how to ask good questions, how and where to look for answers, how to spot bias or opinion, how to write a great report or deliver a good presentation. We educators are the role models. It's our job to show learners how to do things well and what is expected of them when it comes to delivering a certain standard. But modeling goes much further. Kids pick up on our attitudes and behaviors. As teachers and parents, it's really important that we understand the power that our words and actions have on the kids we teach. We're constantly modeling learning habits, reading habits, and attitudes towards learning. This is part of the reason I think that teachers are often so exhausted at the end of the day. It's because we've pulled out all the stops to keep our kids engaged, doing double back flips and so on. And we've been on stage the entire day modeling and then having to deal with all the other stuff as part of the job too. Now, I've spoken about this concept of teachers being learners and sharing our struggles with learning new things with students in one of my newsletters. There's a link to subscribe to my newsletter in the show notes, so check out the show notes as soon as you finish listening and subscribe to my newsletter. It's called Get Curious. In the same way as we model solving equations or writing a great descriptive sentence or asking a good question or writing a fabulous report, we also model our attitude towards learning, whether you are aware of it or not. Sharing stories and anecdotes with children about your own learning struggles can also be very powerful. When you're talking to children about what you're learning, they see that learning is a lifelong habit that adults still do. And that when you keep going, even when things are difficult, You model grit and determination, which is so important for success. So often we come across those kids, right, that are afraid to fail, so they don't even try. That's when you, talking about your own struggles, can be so powerful. Let me tell you a story. I'm a bit of a sewer. Some of you might have spotted my latest creation on Instagram. I make quite a few of my outfits, and the girls especially will ask me at school if I made my dress or my outfit. And I'll often make a point of telling my students about how I struggled with a particular part of a sewing project and how I had to unpick or start over until I got it right, and how I'm now learning how to sew whatever it might be. And this way, the children see me as a learner, as someone who takes risks, so that when it comes to them working on their projects, they are much more open to taking risks and not afraid to try or fail. Because they know we can fix things, and they know that I'm fallible too. Through modeling, we also demonstrate how to be curious. And goodness knows we really need more of this. We need to show enthusiasm when kids run up to us in the yard with a snail or ladybird. At this moment, we run the risk of destroying their curiosity by what we say or do, or in fact, by what we don't say or don't do. So before you say, "Ooh, that's so gross, put it down," take a moment to consider how you could get kids curious. Be excited for them. Ask those great wonder questions I talked about in episode 27. The one thing that I love about being a teacher in an early childhood or elementary setting is that you actually have permission to be a little bit crazy when it comes to being enthusiastic. You can be that Duracell bunny at school because young children really welcome that kind of enthusiasm and energy. Teaching really is a balancing act. But more than that, it's probably a juggling act. We firstly need to know that we are on display. Everything we do, everything we say, our attitude and response to situations are being watched and copied by our learners. And so modeling is a powerful, overt strategy, not only for teaching new skills and concepts, but also for nurturing curiosity and a love for learning and accepting failure as part of the learning process, and demonstrating grit and perseverance in the face of challenges. Now, I wish you a great week ahead, and I would love to hear all about your modeling stories. I don't mean on the ramps, I mean the actual modeling stories in your classrooms with kids that you're teaching. And I also just want to thank you for choosing to listen to this very podcast when you have the choice of thousands out there. It really means the world to me. And if anything I've said today resonates with you or just got you thinking, then please tap on the share button and share it with friends and colleagues so they can benefit too, because sharing is caring. And if you would like more strategies and insights just like these delivered to your inbox, then you should subscribe to my free weekly newsletter, Get Curious, and get on my mailing list. My subscribers get access to all the juicy bits and insider information, so get curious by signing up at resources.edslessons.com/get curious. I'll leave a link in the show notes. So until next time, remember, you're doing an amazing job, and stay blooming curious.